Okay. Go. Hi, I'm Dallas. I'm a 6th grader at Cimarron Middle School.
Hi, I'm Dallas's brother Tanner. I'm a 4th grader at Gold Rush Elementary School. JA programs teach kids like me about our roles in family, community, and our nation.
Tanner, it's not always about you. I have JA at my school too. Speaking of family, let's watch how one Colorado family serve as great role models for us to follow.
I can picture H. Brown Cannon, my grandfather, getting off a train in Denver, nothing in his pocket, and managing to build what would become an important business here in Denver that influenced hundreds, thousands of people, and then would grow into a national business. It really is the American dream.
H. Brown Cannon was born in Michigan in 1866 and moved to Denver when he was 22.
When he came here, of course, he had to get a job, and that was delivering milk.
He was the original entrepreneur, started the Windsor Farm Dairy.
In 1918, H. Brown built a milk processing plant at 1855 Blake Street, which he eventually sold to Medigold Dairy.
Meadow, 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 meadow.
Smooth breeze, meadow go.
He kept everyone hired during the Depression, would bring them boxes of food and clothing. He loved his employees and they loved him.
H. Brown Cannon was a very close friend of the Stapleton family and of Mayor Spear.
And because of these associations, he was able to get contracts with the city, delivering milk to the public schools, and various other contracts that were very lucrative at the time.
In fact, that's how Stapleton Field got involved, because Brown Cannon was involved with the business out there.
His life was all work until he met Margaret Reynolds.
And so they married. It was late in life. He was in his 50s and had the 2 boys as kind of an afterthought.
He was a funny guy, and my dad and my uncle had an ongoing bet that they wouldn't laugh during the evening meal at something he would say, and they never got through a meal without cracking up.
Brown W. Cannon was born in 1916 in Denver, followed by his brother George R. Cannon in 1917. The family lived in Park Hill, and both boys graduated from East High School and Stanford University.
That was pretty much a theme of their lives. Everything they did as a team. They played golf together as a team and were outstanding scratch golfers.
Anytime they got into a business deal, they were 50-50.
Later, Brown continued his education, getting an MBA from Harvard. Then came World War II.
My father and my uncle enlisted in the Navy.
Late into the war, George's ship was struck by a kamikaze plane. More than 150 men were killed.
And the plane left a live bomb on board the ship, which my father and 3 other guys with not very good judgment threw over.
George received a Purple Heart for his heroic actions. The 2 brothers returned to Denver. Brown continued in the dairy business, managing Medigold Dairy, which became part of Beatrice Foods.
Which at that time was one of the biggest conglomerates around. They had Airstream Trailer, they bought Samsonite here in town, several other companies. But he was an absolute genius in business.
He loved his ranches, loved his farming. The National Western Stock Show started a fed beef contest, and we won it for 3 years in a row. And that was one of the great accomplishments that Dad had.
George became a major force in the trucking industry and expanded into many other areas.
There was Sierra Pacific Airlines. He was an owner of Steamboat Ski Corporation. He had lots of heavy equipment leasing companies.
George was larger than life, and he was a negotiator and card player extraordinaire. He'd walk around town, people would yell, "Hi, George," and he'd go, "Hi, mate."
And his trust in people was astounding. George made a $1 million loan to a friend on just a handshake.
"Mate, if a man intends to repay you, he will. And if he doesn't, a piece of paper won't matter."
They managed in 2 generations to really expand their influence on a global scale. But really it all started with the dairy farm here in Denver. And everything just grew from that belief that anything is possible.
Please welcome Jim Cannon to the stage.
Good evening. I'm Jim Cannon. I worked for my father, George, for 15 years, and I'll be accepting this honor for the Cannon families. The Cannons would like to acknowledge and appreciate and thank Junior Achievement #1, the selection committee for this great honor, and also the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. Junior Achievement came up to me and said, is there a family principle that you can give to a cogent idea of how these guys were so successful in business and give it to the JAs? And what these three gentlemen believed in were relationships. They believed in relationships more than they believed in results. My dad used to say to me, Jim, he said, business is easy. It's about one thing. It's about people. And my grandfather, he was a company man. He loved hanging out with his employees. He saw the value of knowing his employees. And my Uncle Brown, I honestly don't know a more charismatic man that I've ever met in my life. Dad would take me in to his office, and he'd always make the time for me, even when I was about those guys' size. And it was just such a thrill, because he would really see you. See, what they knew, and they had a family of network and business associates, but when they were away from their businesses, they were involved in the community. And they were active in civic organizations, because what they knew is that when you're connected, then inevitably you'll have a successful business. You'll have successful ventures, and the profits will start pouring in. So that's just something for the JAs to think about. The Cannons are absolutely honored and thrilled and delighted to share the stage tonight with this class of laureates. Thank you.